Last night on MasterChef Australia.
From this point on, there will be no second chances.
A sudden death taste test saw Tom and Sam go head to head.
The 11th ingredient is thyme.
Unfortunately, there's no time.
Tonight, it's time for another masterclass.
A good cook can cook with any ingredients.
Gary and George give their top tips for a simple kofta.
A great midweek meal.
Braised lamb shanks with a twist. The ultimate souffle. And to finish things off, crepe suzette.
Tell me if retro's good.
It's even beige for the 70s. This week's been a massive week, an enjoyable week, but really stressful nonetheless. So it's good today we've got Masterclass and hopefully pick up some tips.
I've missed quite a few Masterclasses not being here, so looking forward to seeing what George and Gary are going to dish up today.
Poe, Justine, it's good to see you back.
Well, there was a third, and that was Tom. Unfortunately, taste, the most important thing that a chef can have, let him down. Tom, what is your choice?
The 11th ingredient is thyme.
Tom, unfortunately, there's no time in my mum's moussaka.
Look, I'm disappointed, but I wish Sam the best, and I hope you'll do very well and keep on dodging those elimination bullets.
Yeah, I don't know if I can, Tom.
He said it was thyme, it was oregano. And really,
That's a fine line. Would you get that even as a professional? I don't know, it's a close one.
It was a close one, really close one. And I'm sure Tom's going to do fantastic things out there because he's a great guy. Sam, did you think of time?
No, I was shocked when Tom said time. Just think I'm a little bit lucky.
You say a little bit of luck. I think you've had a massive amount of luck. Yeah. How many eliminations have you been through now?
I've been through 9 eliminations,
9
Gary.
eliminations.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Haven't been eliminated yet, though.
Anyway, that was the week that was. Today, Masterclass. Chance for you again to sit back, take some notes, learn something new.
Joining us back in the MasterChef kitchen today is Julia Lucas. Welcome back.
So we're going to recap and look at the mystery box challenge that you did this week. A good cook can cook with any ingredients. Instead of having high-end, sexy ingredients all the time, you lift that little wooden lid, look inside, and you find things like bread and eggs and just everyday items that you'd find in your larder at home. And that separates good cooks from the bad cooks. I think so, anyway.
I was pretty disappointed in the dishes that were produced.
Chris, what did you do?
I did the spiced koftas with the yogurt raita and pita bread.
It looks very clumsy. They're not appealing, let's be quite honest. They're dry. It's not one of your best, that's for sure. So today we're going to do a dish using the mince, and the dish is something that I grew up with. It's a little play on a kofta. It's called an open kofta. So cooking the dish with me today is going to be Chris.
George, Chris, enjoy yourself. And Chris, George actually showed me this years ago, and it's become my recipe now. So, close.
A gift.
So enjoy yourselves.
See you, Gary. This recipe is my mum's recipe, and this is a dish that, we'd have stacks of these in the fridge at home, get home from school and literally peel one off, cook it, and it was like a little snack, while everyone else was eating those cheese sticks that you Aussie kids eat. That's what we were eating. Okay, the first step is probably one of the most important things is we've got coriander seeds and cumin seeds, okay? And it's really important that you toast seeds off. They've got to be toasted off to get as much as the oil out of the seed and get the flavour into the mince or whatever you make. So we'll get that going first. If you can pop that into the pan and get that toasting off, that'd be great. While they're toasting off, we've got 4 shallots, clove of garlic. If you can get a frying pan out, lots of olive oil and get that sweating down, that'd be great. Nice and translucent, don't want too much colour. Just thinly slice the garlic. It doesn't need to be too, too crushed.
At home, like a lot of people use the garlic crusher.
Yeah.
Is there any reason not to?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. So these spices, the garlic, the shallots, they're the flavouring for the mince. We're introducing different layers in there to make it tasty. Right. And you can sort of tell when your spices are toasted. You can see that sort of smoke is starting to bellow up off the side of the pan, and you get that beautiful fragrance. Now, straight into your mortar and pestle, okay? Pop that into there. Every good kitchen should have one of these. These are absolutely mandatory. They're beautiful. And unless I'm doing something that's a wet ingredient in there, to clean them, you just fill it up with table salt right to the top, leave it for a couple of days, and the salt removes any impurities and flavour, okay? Tip the salt out, give it a wash out, and then you've got your brand new mortar and pestle again. I'd give it a little bit more of a pound, yeah. Okay, beautiful. Now just pop that aside. Yeah. So now we're sweating off the shallots and the garlic. Once they're nice and translucent, we'll pop them in a bowl, pop them in the fridge to cool it down before we mix it through the beef. Yeah. So while the shallots and garlic are sweating down, we're going to use coriander. And I love all of the coriander. I don't just like the top that most people use. They chop that off and that goes in the bin. I love that. That's got so much flavour in it, the root end of the coriander. So if you can cut it there, right, and then shred it as fine as possible. And again, I see chefs chopping herbs into the board, just chopping, and then the board looks green. Why is it green? All the flavour's been bruised into the board and the herb tastes like nothing anymore. That's enough. Now, just in that bowl there, pop your onions and your shallots and your garlic in there, and we'll just pop that in the fridge. Put that pan aside. We pop the shallots and garlic in the fridge to cool it down before we put it in the beef, so we don't cook the beef. Really important. Next step is to make our kofta mix. Okay, so we've got, good quality beef mince. Okay, this is top side. Okay, it's got a good amount of fat in it, and it's great for what we need it for. Okay, so I reckon about a good handful of that. Yeah, about that much. Yep. Right, to that, our coriander. Zest of a lemon. Next step is an egg. And the egg will just help make it nice and fluffy, but also bind the mince together. Fresh breadcrumbs. Okay, just a good handful of them, probably about 5 large tablespoons. We've got some seeded mustard here. Just a spoon of that. Now you want to grab the onions out of the fridge. Our shallots and our garlic that we've cooled down in the fridge, they go in. Our coriander seeds and our cumin seeds that have been toasted off and just smashed up in the mortar and pestle. Now start to mix that up. Good amount of pepper. Smell that, huh? It smells great, doesn't it? I mean, those spices make it, Salt.
All right.
How does it feel? It looks a little bit sloppy, right? So we can just add a little bit more bread, okay? I'd love for you to take this recipe and hopefully use it one day in your place.
Yep.
Coming up, George plates up his beef kofta.
And quite simply, lots of yogurt.
Then gets set to drool over his lamb shanks.
An old favourite of mine.
Later, Lucas shows off his French cooking skills.
What else goes in there?
Flour. And then Gary goes all retro on us.
So crepe suzette, revisiting the 70s.
Okay, the next step is to assemble our kofta. Okay, so what we've got is this, just a beautiful flatbread take a good handful of the mix and start to spread it out. You want, you know, a good sort of 3 centimetres in height. Yeah, you can take some off if it's too much. Okay. You know, it's a simple pita bread that you can buy from the supermarket or a good Mediterranean deli. Okay.
That pita bread, when you stick it in the oven, does that actually expand and blow up?
Not this type of pita bread, but I mean the pita pockets, where there's, you know, there's a balloon inside. Just make sure you've hit all the edges. Yep, perfect. Right, into a frying pan. A little bit of olive oil, not too much. Okay, now you want to pop that in the pan.
Side down?
Bread side down.
Bread side down.
Yep, and we're gonna start it in the oven. Okay, so pop that straight in the oven. We've got the grill on. And that will take, you know, 4 or 5 minutes. Right, while the kofta's in the oven cooking, we're just gonna make a simple salad. It's a red onion, coriander, and baby cucumber salad. So if you can thinly slice that. Yeah, half a red onion. Yeah. Give us a look. Yep, perfect. Now, pop that into a bowl. To that, a little drizzle of olive oil, a crack of salt, please. Beautiful. So that's one part of our salad done. The next bit is our beautiful baby cucumbers. You can just cut them on an angle. Yeah. Yep, do 2 of them. All right, pop them all into that bowl there. Same again, olive oil, a little bit of sea salt. Yep. Okay, so that's ready to go. And we've got our fresh coriander that we're going to just pick over the top. Okay, and we've got some yogurt. Okay, some yogurt. It's nice and thick. Right, so that took only a couple of minutes. It's always good to check that the base is nice and golden brown. And if it's not, all you have to do is literally get it onto heat and just give it a little bit of a colour. Yep. Okay. Because there's nothing worse than a soggy base. So we'll just dress it, right? And quite simply, lots of yogurt. Get some red onion on there. Place some cucumber, you know, along it. I'm quite aggressive with the amount of coriander, so I think it also refreshes it. And then maybe just a little sprinkle of shallots over the top, just for a bit of crispiness. So there you have it, quite simple, an open kofta. Looks a bit, you know, homely, yeah? But absolute heaven. Gary,
well,
memories?
Done. Look at this.
Memories?
Oh, I love this. How much better does this look than yours?
Infinitely better.
It looks fantastic. You gonna try it?
Looks very,
get into
very
it. I can't resist
Get in the middle, get in the middle.
Can't
you
resist
have the
it,
middle
George.
piece.
That's really good.
That's great. You get that nice fresh yogurt. Those lovely little cucumbers, George. They're really sweet. Coriander, crispy shallots, and onion too. Adds like a nice little dimension. It's just really Moorish, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just fresh. That's what I get out of it.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you, mate. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Good job. Sam?
Yep.
Come and taste a cooked kofta.
Oh, that's nice, mate.
Oh, that was mean, George.
I know,
It's a bit
come on.
harsh. Yeah, it's beautiful and fresh, and yeah, it tastes a hell of a lot better than mine did. You couldn't eat mine, could you?
So for the people at home, a great midweek meal. And for us, the professionals, a great dish to have in our little bistro, in our bar. You know, it's nice and cheap, but it's flavoursome. Well, let's recap on this week's Offside Challenge, and what a challenge it was. Not only was it an emotional day, but there was a lot of hard work to be done. So you had to cook for 200 hungry sailors on HMAS Canimbla. They judged you individually, so you all had to cook your own dish, and the winner was Justine.
Yay.
What problems did you have on the day, Justine?
Keeping the temperature right in the big pot that I had.
A Brad pan?
The Brad pan, yeah, was a struggle because there was hot spots everywhere. That's why some of my lamb shanks were cooked really well
and some of them needed a bit more time.
But I mean, in inspiration of your lamb shanks, I thought I'd pull an old favourite of mine out of my first cookbook, which is lamb shanks braised in yogurt, mastic and honey.
Okay, and what's the reason for the mastic?
Okay, mastic is this, it's a beautiful product that comes out of Greece, and it's a resin that beads from the base of the tree. It appears only 3 months of the year, and what's that used for is two things. It's an emulsifier, but as well as that, it adds a beautiful flavour. It's sort of a cross between cinnamon and vanilla, but it's also got this piney sort of smell to it, which is quite delicious. You can buy that from a good Mediterranean wholesaler, a Greek deli, they sell it.
I read once that mastic was the world's first chewing gum.
Chewing gum, that's correct.
So they used to chew on it, because it takes a long time to
Yep.
dissolve. That's fantastic. All right, so what's the first job?
First job, Gary, is we need to caramelise the lamb shanks off. So if you could
So
do
I'll
that,
do that for
me,
you?
yeah, that'd be great.
So we're just going to season these as well, George?
Yep.
Just with salt and then colour them really well?
Yep. Classically, some recipes call for dusting the lamb shanks in flour.
Yep.
Which makes sense as well, but because I want this dish quite light in flavour, it's all about olive oil, it's all about these really simple flavours.
Yep.
There's no need for
It's all about the lamb.
Yeah, that's
really,
right.
Isn't it? It's about
That's
the shank
right.
or the neck.
Yep.
So the secret, nice hot pan, a little bit of oil to transfer the heat and open the windows. Okay, George, is that good enough for you?
That is perfect, Gary.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, let's bring those over.
Fantastic. Next step is a splash of white wine just to deglaze all that yumminess off the bottom of the pan. And then stock. Just a white chicken stock is fine. And look, if you haven't got stock, you can use water.
Okay. Yeah.
Coming up,
It's in thickening the stock slightly.
does mastic make the lamb shanks a meal to remember?
I don't know how to explain it, but kind of this mentholy character to it.
So basically, we seal the shanks off. What happens after that?
The next step is, and it seemed quite weird, but we basically cover the top of the shanks with about an inch of yogurt. Okay. And what will happen is the yogurt separates and all of the water of the yogurt assists in breaking down the lamb shank. It's a Greek-style yogurt. Now, I've just hung that for a day. To hang yogurt, quite simply, you can even use a brand new Chuck's cloth, put it in a colander, pop your yogurt in, fold it all together and just leave it in the fridge and just leave it overnight and it's fine. So there's 3 cups of yogurt in there, and then we've got about 4 shallots just cut in half, 2 cloves of garlic.
Just whole?
Whole. Some thyme. I don't need to chop the thyme up, I just want the flavour from it.
Just the flavour from it. Beautiful.
Lemon zest. And then our mastic adds flavour for me. It also assists in thickening the stock slightly, but adds a really unusual flavour to it.
Is it sweet or is it just that sort of
No,
piney?
it's more piney, not sweet at all. I popped in about 5 beads of mastic. That's ample.
Yep.
Right, our next step is our honey, and be quite liberal. There'll be a bit of acid there from the yogurt, so that the honey's there just to counter-react against that.
That is such a simple way of braising a lamb shank, isn't it?
It is, yeah, you know, sometimes we get carried away with vegetables,
all the vegetables and everything.
that.
It's fantastic.
Next step is a cartouche. It's something that you guys need to learn how to make, and it's really simple. Silicone paper, fold into a square, right? And then fold it over like you'd be making an aeroplane, okay? And just keep folding it over. And then what you do is you measure the size of your pan, and then at that point, you cut the excess off and also cut the tip off. And then you end up with... Hello. Okay.
And what's the idea of that? Just to sort of keep everything sealed in?
Sealed in.
So none of the steam's escaping when you
Steam's
put
not
the lid on?
escaping. It's basically, it's cooking with its own juices. Lid goes on, nice and tight. That goes in the oven, 165 degrees for 4 hours, and then it's ready.
I'm presuming the sweetness of the lamb really suits it because of the yogurt and the honey, but can you use other kinds of meat, or just doesn't work?
Honestly, I've never... Goat would be lovely.
Goat would be beautiful.
Yeah, goat would be lovely. I've never tried it with any other...
And I reckon pork.
Pork?
I reckon pork would be really good with yogurt.
There you go.
So, George, you're going to get the lamb out of the oven now, the shanks? How long have they been in there?
They've been in there for 4 hours, Gary.
That's
165 degrees. So.
Okay.
And just, you can smell that aroma. Peel our little cartouche off. Now, what you can actually see here is the yogurt's turned into this amazing cheese sort of texture, and that's delicious. Now, we just pick out any of those thyme leaves, and then we gently
Oh, they look good, George.
take our shanks out. Okay. I knew you'd like this, Gary. If there's a little crust of yogurt on the lamb, I tend to like to leave it on there. Now, with all that juice there, what we're going to do is just strain that off.
You know what I'm getting there is that, you know, you're right, it's like a cheese that's really springy, and you've got that really strong mastic flavour that's gone all the way through. And that's amazing from that little amount of mastic, how piney that
it is.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Gary, if I can get you to just place them all on that platter there.
Yep.
And, you know, even all these little bits of cheese, we can
On there
scatter
as well,
a few
just over the top?
Yeah, yeah. Now, I want to adjust this little sauce, so to speak, so I just reduce that down. Oh, that's beautiful. Justine, come and taste this just at this point. Tell me what... It's lovely, isn't it?
Sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour. You know, just a little bit of lemon juice just to freshen it up. I'll get you to drizzle some olive oil in there, and I'm going to buzz it at the same time. And this is like the French Monte au beurre, you know, add butter to a sauce. I like to add olive oil. It just enriches it. Keep going. It's perfect, actually. And then we get this really beautiful white sort of creamy goodness. Now taste it again and see what you think. How good's that?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Instead of butter, olive oil. How's it changed?
It's really great.
It has almost like sweetened it, it's heightened it, it's richer.
And smoothed it out, and then you get those little grassy overtones of the olive oil.
Yeah,
really,
you can
really
taste
nice.
olive oil in it.
And then literally, for me, that is just sensational.
Love the look of it.
And there you have it, lamb shanks braised in yogurt, mastic and honey. So top tips, I mean, Gary showed you how to caramelise the lamb shanks. That's really important, getting good caramelisation to release all those beautiful sugars. Next step, make sure you use quality ingredients. Good yogurt, good honey, lemon, shallots, nice and fresh, and you're on the right track. Next step, low temperature for a long period of time. Gentle cooking, 160, 165 degrees, 4 hours, delicious. Right, shall we taste? Andre? Do you want to pop up?
Should we take one of these off, George?
Yeah.
That's just hook it. It does fall off the bone, doesn't it?
Beautiful.
Enough? Enough. You just want to keep going, don't you?
I do, I'd love to, yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks,
guys.
Andre.
Cheers.
They're quite tart. There's a sort of acidity, yeah, of the
And you get that
yogurt.
pine aroma?
Yeah, the pine. And it sits quite, I don't know how to explain it, but kind of sits quite high up. If you stick, it's kind of this mentholy
Well, that's what it would be,
character
wouldn't it?
to it.
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful.
Coming up, Lucas is let loose in the Masterclass kitchen.
I'm going to do a twice-baked souffle, Gruyere souffle, so very, very French.
And later, Gary brings back the classic crepe suzette.
Lucas, you're our special guest today, so I think you're going to show us a dish that you've learned while you've been out in the big, brave world.
Yeah.
So come on, let's show the guys what you've learned.
One of the main things I've learned in L'Etoile is more about French food. You know, in France, what crab would you use?
We've got little crabs called étrille. Take the legs.
Learned some wonderful techniques.
The crab has got a really sweet meat.
I'm very fortunate that Manu has taken me under his wing.
Okay. Don't move it too much.
He's come from an amazing background, and to get those little tips, I'm in with a big advantage here.
He's going to start stewing here.
Yep.
Great. So what are you going to show us?
I'm going to do a twice-baked souffle, Gruyere souffle, so very, very French.
So Gruyere cheese, nice strong cheese.
Beautiful. We're going to finish it off with a Gruyere and cream sauce and a lovely hazelnut salad on top.
Okay, sounds good. Fantastic. We're going to crack on. George,
I'll
you
leave
can
you
have a break.
to it. I'm going to come back and try some cheesy goodness.
Right. Lucas.
So first thing we need to do is get the bechamel on.
Okay, bechamel being a white sauce.
Yep.
So the white sauce is the basis for the souffle, yep?
Yes, it is.
And this is a pudding souffle.
It is.
A pudding souffle is actually twice baked, so it's twice cooked. And the reason it'll come back up is the fact that it's slightly heavier. You know, the batter or the base is slightly heavier. So the bechamel, that's the base.
That's the base, and
Okay,
we're going to
off you go.
flavour it with some shallots and thyme. Do a little bit of butter in the pan. Put the rest of the butter in here, which is about 35 grams.
Okay.
And I put that in with the flour.
35 grams of butter and about the same of flour for your base.
A little bit of oil in there as well, just to wet it. Okay. So what we're doing here is we're putting the butter and the flour together, make a white roux.
Yep. And what we're looking for when you make a white roux is you're looking for that little white taint on the flour. So if you flip a little bit over, you can just see that.
Yep, there we go.
See, you can see that little white taint? That's what you're looking for, and that's telling you that it's starting to cook the flour out, starting to change in character. So that looks perfect, Jet.
It's ready to go.
That's great.
So we're going to grab some milk. I've got 300 mils. I'm going to put 250 in.
Okay. So you mix that off the heat?
I do, just so it doesn't keep cooking and so I can get the texture right.
Right, okay, and the texture being nice and smooth and creamy in consistency. And those shallots, you're just going to cook until they're translucent, which they're
getting
now.
Close to it.
So a little bit see-through. So we'll just take those off?
Yep. Just a little bit at a time with this until it starts to become a
So basically you're beating out the lumps. Right, so you put that back on the heat now?
Yep.
You've got about 50 mils left.
I'd say we're going to need that.
Margin.
I actually like to use a...
Are you using a spoon now?
Yep, just at the end.
Okay. Yeah, you can see it thickening up. Lovely. So in goes the cheese.
45 grams of cheese.
45 grams of Gruyere cheese, which you've grated.
Yep.
And you stir to incorporate, I presume?
Yes, basically just dissolves into it. Gives it a lovely, cheesy flavour.
So this is the shallots and the thyme.
Yep.
Now we need to blend that, do we?
Yes.
Until it's smooth?
Yes.
But do you want to put a bit of oil in there or one of the egg yolks or the egg yolks?
Yeah, we'll put an egg yolk in there just to help it blend.
Spin. Okay.
We'll go from there.
Now, this shallot and yolk mixture goes in?
Yes, it does.
All of that?
Yeah, put it all in. And at this point, too, we can put a bit of the other egg yolk in, yes?
Yeah, which is this one.
Adds creaminess.
And then what that does is enrichen the mixture.
So we just grate a little bit of nutmeg in there, and we season as well.
So a bit of salt. How's that taste? How's it good? Is it good?
It's good.
What does it taste of?
Well, you've got lovely thyme and cheese, mainly, with very velvety kind of sauce to go with it.
Good
nice.
gutsy sauce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, let's bung that in there. And you're going to cool that down now, just a little bit, because now you need to add the egg whites. Is that right?
Yes. We've got 3 egg whites. We just put into a bowl.
Okay. Pinch of salt.
Pinch of salt.
Yep.
Does go well, because we love our salt.
The other thing that salt does is it helps stabilise the proteins in the egg white. So we use sugar or salt or cream of tartar. They all do pretty much the same thing. So off you go. Whisk away. Notice as well that you've got some buttered moulds for the souffle. And it's important that you butter these moulds well, because obviously if you don't, it doesn't allow the souffle to rise inside the mould. What else goes in there? Because you've got something else in there.
Flour.
Dust a little bit of flour.
Just, which helps it lubricate it. This isn't far away, actually.
Okay.
What do you think?
Soft peak we're looking for on the egg whites.
It's
beautiful.
It's perfect. Put a third in.
Third in, mix it into a batter. Yep. The general rule of thumb is incorporate this first third in any way you can, but it doesn't really matter. It's softening the batter to take the next 2/3, which should be folded in really, really gently.
Yep.
So let's make sure we get all of that egg white in there. Right, so I'm folding this in, and you can see what I'm doing is I turn the bowl, and I go round from sort of 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and then I lift, and I tip the mixture over onto itself, right? And every so often you can have a little bit of a stir around to incorporate. It's quite a thick mixture or batter, that bechamel. Happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Right. So we're going to put these into the moulds?
Yes.
All right. Off you go.
And with 2/3.
So 2/3 full allows the mixture to rise.
We just...
Beautiful. And you're being careful not to splash that on the sides.
Yeah, you don't
Why's that?
Well, if it catches on the sides, it'll stop it rising.
Right. And you'll find that if you're cooking a souffle and a little bit's caught here, it'll rise this way because it's holding the souffle here, and it can only go one way, and it's expand, and so it flips over. So what are you tapping that for?
To get all the air pockets out, because
Right.
if you get little air pockets, one will rise, one won't.
Okay. So these go in the oven like that, do they?
No. We put a bain-marie.
A bain-marie.
Yes.
Which is a water bath.
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to put hot water in there?
I am.
All right. And the reason we do that, what's that, Lucas?
It just controls the heat.
Okay. So that goes in the oven?
Yeah, for around 20, 25 minutes.
Okay.
At
What temperature is that?
160 we put it in.
Off you go. Looking one.
Yeah.
After the break, does Lucas's twice-baked souffle cut the mustard with the master chefs?
So what are you going to show us?
I'm going to do a twice-baked souffle, very French.
So that goes in the oven?
Yeah, for around 20, 25 minutes. From there, we take them out and we cool them in the fridge.
Okay, lovely, great. So Lucas's twice-baked souffles have baked their first time. They've been in the oven for 20 minutes, we've taken them out and we've popped them in the fridge to cool down. So we're ready for the next phase, which is the second baking.
Yep. Look at that.
So what do we cool these down?
It's easy to manage, basically. And also we put cheese back on top.
Right, so are you turning it out onto the grease proof here? Is that what you're doing?
Upside down. So they should just pop, just like so.
What you find is when you've got something in a mould like that, rather than putting a knife in, if you just tease it from around the outside, it's basically the air that's sucking it to the bottom there. So you then shake it and it'll pop out.
Perfect.
And these are quite dense.
They are.
You think, is that going to go back up? Is that going to rise again?
Yes, it is.
But basically, when you bake it, it's going to go nice and crisp and fluffy, light. Okay, show us what to do next.
We put the cheese on top of the souffle.
So more Gruyere?
More Gruyere. This will give it a lovely little
So you're just baking them like that? They go straight into the oven?
Absolutely.
Like that? Okay, fantastic. No cream, no nothing on that?
Nothing.
All right. Pop it in the oven. What temperature is the oven?
180.
180? How long?
5 to 7 minutes.
5 to 7 minutes. Come on then, let's rock on.
While we're doing that, we're going to make the sauce.
How do we do that?
Really simple. It's just 2 parts milk to Gruyere.
So 75 mils of milk and 35 grams of Gruyere cheese. Up to the boil or?
I'll just look to where
just to warm.
Just to
season that as well?
Yes.
Vinaigrette next, now that your cheese sauce is done for the twice-baked cheese souffle.
Yep.
Right, whisk, bowl.
Yeah.
What have you got here?
Basic French vinaigrette. We're going to have a teaspoon of Dijon mustard.
Yep. How much of the vinegar?
About a tablespoon. And basically 3-4 parts oil to that, so 4 tablespoons.
So 1 part vinegar, 4 parts oil.
A little bit of pepper and salt.
This is a simple French vinaigrette to go with the salad that you're going to make from these little celery shoots and mustard leaves, yeah?
Yep.
So you whisk it in so it's emulsified?
Yep.
That's great.
There we go.
Does that look good to you?
Yeah,
looks the same as Manu's?
Yeah.
What next?
Well, we basically just cut some of these off.
How would you like them cut? Sort of long like that?
Yeah, that's good. And maybe just
a little bit of the mustard and cress.
A quarter of those.
So a little bit of the cress leaves, little mustard and cress leaves. And these are just like little baby salad leaves. So you could use any sort of baby salad leaves, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that enough?
Yeah, I think that's plenty.
What else are you putting in there?
5 or 6 roasted hazelnuts.
You've taken the skins off these. How did you do that?
You got to roast them first.
Yep.
And then you literally put them in just some paper, rub them, and it just comes off.
Okay, lovely. That's easy. Nice and easy, isn't it?
Yeah. So we won't dress that yet. Do that last moment.
Last minute. And why last minute?
Because it wilts.
It'll wilt the herbs.
The herbs will just sink and you won't get the presentation.
Okay, super. So we're nearly there.
Nearly there. Basically, grab a spatula and get it ready. You can see they're just wobbling a little bit.
Let's pop them on here. Oh, look at those. Beautiful. They look lovely. They look like little scones, actually.
Yeah, so we put it on the plate first.
Nice and a little bit of dressing onto the salad?
Yes, just a tiny little bit.
Teaspoon, really? Yep. Mix it with my fingers?
Yes, please. You just make a little puddle here and...
Oh, lovely. It's beautiful.
And then we just create some height.
Right, so you're turning it around and putting it into a little peak, and then popping all those lovely herbs on top.
Exactly, and you can...
Drop a few hazelnuts around the outside. How lovely.
It's a twice-baked Gruyere souffle from L'Etoile under Menu Fidel.
Beautiful. Looks absolutely fantastic, Lucas. Thank you so much for showing us that. You impressed?
Yeah. There we go.
So, Lucas, what are your top tips for your twice-baked Gruyere souffle?
Well, first of all, get the egg whites right, so where it's soft peaks. Not too runny, but not too thick. If you've got a metal bowl, you can actually slide a touch underneath. Second one is bain-marie, controls the heat. Third one, get the right proportions, basically.
So, right recipe. Follow the recipe.
Yep.
George,
how did we go?
Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? He's done a fabulous job. I'm really proud of him.
Good job.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic. Can we taste?
Yeah.
May I? Ooh, nice and soft.
Tastes good? Tastes good?
Nice and soft in the middle, which is what we want.
Soft in the middle, that beautiful crunch from the hazelnuts. The cheese is there, you know, you know what it is. And I love that sort of freshness from the herbs. It just sort of cuts through it all. It's delicious. Is there vinaigrette in there?
Yes, vinaigrette on the
lovely,
salad.
There's a bit of zestiness there just to cut that fattiness of the cheese. Well done, mate. Top effort.
Good job. Excellent. Justine? What do you
Beautiful.
think? Tell us what you
Beautiful. It's really rich, but we've got the hazelnuts with it. Cuts it nicely. Lovely.
Fantastic. Thanks, Justine.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. It's really rich, but it's really nice. It's all about the cheese, isn't it? But you get the hazelnut that comes through, and I think the vinaigrette with the herbs is nice. Just freshens up the plate. Well done, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Beautiful. Well done, Lucas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
No worries.
Lucas, thanks so much for bringing that recipe in.
You're welcome.
It's great to see that you're doing well out there.
Top job.
Go and have a seat.
Brilliant.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Next, a touch of 70s hits the Masterclass kitchen.
They're just mine, by the way. So next on MasterChef, we're going to recap the invention test. What you were given was a theme of romance, and you were to come up with 3 dishes, 3 courses, using ingredients that Andre picked. The dish that I'm going to do now, I took a little bit of inspiration from Andre. He put a crepe up on a plate. What was inside it?
I'd stuffed it with sweetened ricotta, chunks of dark chocolate and the strawberries.
Which was lovely. It was good. And it was a bit retro. I actually looked at it and thought, my goodness, bit retro, haven't seen pancakes, haven't seen crepes for a long time. And the first thing that came to mind was that classic, that retro classic, which is crepe suzette. So crepe suzette, revisiting the 70s. Right, flour, 115 grams of flour, 2 whole eggs. A proper crepe recipe should start off from the middle in a small well. The idea is that as you whisk around, it starts to incorporate the flour from around the edge of the well, and you can just add a little bit of the milk. So I've got about 280 mils to 300 mils of milk. And the end result, the consistency you're looking for, is sort of double cream. You know, if you think about that thickened cream that you buy, is that consistency. All right? I'm going to put a bit of butter in there. The reason I'm going to do that, one for flavour, because it's going to be a little bit nutty, and the other one because it's going to add a little bit of richness to the crepe mixture. So this is a crepe pan. So it's a really thin base pan, conducts the heat very, very easily. So just melted, foamy, a little bit nutty, and then you just pour that butter into the mixture.
What does the beurre noisette actually do for the batter when you add it in?
Flavour, number one, but it also adds some richness to the pancake. Always seems strange, but you put a little bit of salt, just a pinch, into most sweet things. It just develops flavour because salt actually stimulates your taste buds. So it sort of prepares them for what's to come, all right? So little bit of oil, all right? So we've got our crepe pans heating up. If you don't have a crepe pan, then you can just use a good non-stick, that's fine. So look, technique, drop it around the top of the pan, and then around, and basically fill all the holes, all right? All right, back onto a low gas, and then next pan. Basically a nice thin mixture. It doesn't hold an enormous amount of heat. You've just got to be fairly quick about doing it, right? All you're doing is basically just putting the spatula underneath and grabbing hold of it, and then popping it back down just for a second. So when that crepe's ready, onto your hand, and now onto a plate. We've got the crepes, so we're going to make the orange sauce, all right? Now, this is the part that you're going to do at the table, okay? And this is the showy bit. So orange zest. Remembering that that's where all the flavour is. We need to squeeze the orange. So we want the juice. And then just strain the juice, just to take out that little bit of pith that's in there. So we've got our orange zest, orange juice, the sugar, right, the sweet part of it. you can zest the orange, right? And then just mix or rub the orange zest into the sugar, okay? There's nothing worse than just orange juice used in terms of flavour, all right? So quantities, two oranges zested and juiced, and there was about 5 tablespoons full of sugar. Now for our little orange sauce. So a little bit of sugar, and what I want to do is just start off a very light caramel in the pan. Because the pan's really thin, transfers the heat quickly, so it's going to melt very, very quickly. And then we get our lovely zesty orange, which has got sugar in it, which smells absolutely fantastic. And as that starts to caramelise, we're going to pop that into the sugar, into the caramel. I'm going to pop a bit of the orange in. It's just starting to melt and get that sort of ruddy sort of caramel colour. As it starts to bubble, we put in our orange juice. All right? And then the whole idea is that now dissolves in the orange juice, and then we're going to pop some butter in little cubes. What I'm looking for is a really sort of nice emulsified, syrupy consistency, not too thick, because the next stage of folding the crepes through the sauce is going to thicken it further, all right? So that's quite important. Going to pour a bit of it off. Just put a touch back in the pan, and what you do is you then drop the crepe into the syrup and fold it over, and then fold it into a third, and then you can do exactly the same. And what you're doing is you're just letting those simmer in that orange syrup, right? And then putting a little bit more sauce each time. So once you've got 3, you can move them back around into the centre of the pan, right? Put a bit more of the orange, and then here comes the secret, right? A little bit of Grand Marnier. Flambe. Yes. Beautiful, huh? Fire it up, and then a little bit of brandy. All right, look at that. Beautiful. Lovely. So what you should be getting is this lovely, sticky, syrupy, orangey syrup that's then going to go on the plate, and that's it. So there you go, a classic retro crepe suzette. Haven't made one for 50 years, but Andre, you inspired me. So Julie, Andre, woohoo! You're our lucky 2. Come on, try that. Try it. Have a go, dig in. Tell me if retro's good.
That's beautiful.
It's good?
Intense, yeah.
Lots of orange.
Brandy, Grand Marnier, did you get that in there?
All together.
So it's an oldie, but a goodie.
It's even beige for the 70s.
It is, isn't it? So top tips for pancakes. You're looking for consistency of single cream. Whisk, add a little bit of milk, and gradually draw the flour in. So you're beating the mixture so you don't get lumps. Another one is the beurre noisette. You don't have to put it in, but it'll add that richness, add a little extra flavour to the pancake, which is important. And when you're cooking, the control of the temperature is really important. You shouldn't have to play around with the gas or the temperature. So that's another masterclass done and dusted. Let's take some of this food and have our weekly glass of wine and something to eat. Well, you know, what an interesting week. You know, we've got 3 contestants back, lost 1, all in the space of 24 hours. It's a tough competition, it's getting tougher. So best of luck for this final 8. Another week to come. Let's see what it brings. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, guys.
To another week.
Cheers.
Next time on MasterChef Australia, the countdown to the finals week begins.
Every win now is critical.
And to start things off, big mystery box, big challenge.
What the hell?
Plus, Christmas comes early as our chefs double up for some festive cheer.
Whatever you cook has to capture that essence of Christmas.
If we don't get this right, we might as well give up.
You need to be like Santa Claus, in control of your sleigh.
Wasn't expected to be asked back, and I don't want to stuff it up.
Then I hear crackling noise and I smell something burning, and it's my hair.